Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and today we are checking out the new black contrast paint called Black Legion. But while we're at it, it makes sense to also be checking out the contrast paint Black Templar. Which one is better? My answer is depending on the situation. I would use both. Let's look into it. Here on the left we have the new Black Legion being painted over Wraithbone, and Black Templars being painted over Wraithbone on the right. I assume the burning question on most contrast paint users' mind was, what is the difference between the two of them? Why did they make Black Legion since we already have Black Templar? So I wanted to make sure you saw it well so you could decide which one you would use and where in your painting endeavors. The first difference I noticed, because there are differences, was that Black Templar is just a touch more fluid than Black Legion. I believe it has a little more flow improver, meaning that the highlights will be more grey, revealing more of the wraithbone underneath, while only the shadows and crevices will be truly black. Black Legion, on the other hand, will be more black overall, with only the most raised sections being closer to grey. If I were to use one of them as more of a wash with added contrast medium, I would use Black Templar since it's closer to being a wash anyway. If I wanted a deep black without being heavy with grey areas, I would use Black Legion. If I wanted to make a gloss black by adding a gloss varnish into the mix, I would again go with Black Legion since it's more heavily pigmented and would be thinned less by the gloss varnish. What would I be using a gloss black for? For shiny armor or shiny army boots. On the other hand, since Nuln Oil gloss is going away, if I wanted to recreate that, I would instead mix the gloss varnish with Black Templar. Why wouldn't I mix it with Nuln Oil itself? Well, I could, but because it would become too diluted, requiring more layers than before, Black Templar with gloss varnish would just be the simpler choice. Also, as you may notice when painting both the models primed in Wraithbone, and then again with the models primed in Greyseer, I was able to finish the models painted with Black Templar faster than I could those painted with Black Legion. That was because Black Templar, as I mentioned, is more fluid. Black Legion is just a tad thicker and didn't spread onto the miniature quite as quickly as Black Templar did, and I needed to go back for more often. Now, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, since Black Legion being a more pigment-heavy paint means that I will need less layers to make it pure black, but it's just something I noted, so I thought I would share it with you. Now, because they are black, the difference between models painted over Wraithbone and models painted over Greyseer is very minute. That isn't to say that these still aren't transparent paints, because with both Black Legion and Black Templar through the airbrush, the metal continues to shine through from under a single coat of either of them. In this instance, I'm covering both models fully with a coat of contrast paint so that you can see exactly how much they cover over metal, but you could easily use either of these as just a shadow for your metal. Metals from the shadows are always less glinty and shiny than that in a highlighted area, so having something that is matte over metal, particularly in the shadows, and particularly over silver metal, of course, will look quite natural. Here I have a fresh layer of Flesh Tearers Red, and now I'm applying Black Legion very carefully to it. I've used Black Templar in the past with Flesh Tearers Red, so I wanted to see what I could do with Black Legion, and as I expected, you have to be more careful where you place it, so I was combining it nice and gently over this vampire bat's wing, and as you can see, with a little bit of playing around, you can make a very nice demonic looking wing without taking very long at all at it. And don't be afraid to ever paint with your fingers. It can sometimes be the quickest thing to make your paint do exactly what you want it to. Here it is when it's dry. If you noted, it is correct very mildly. The Black Legion does seem to be like a warm black, while the Black Templar seems to be a cold black. I mean, you wouldn't really be able to tell it, but here we have two blacks right next to each other, so you can see that the Black the Black Legion has a touch of brown, just a tiny touch of brown. The moral of the story is I would use Black Legion and I would use Black Templar. Black Templar where I really want to see the edge highlights of everything. And Black Legion when I want a quick all over color and forget about it, really. Like for troops, troop boots would be like Black Legion. Black Templar, it might be a bit too light, might have to go over it again. I'd also use Black Templar more readily over metal because you will be able to see more of the metal underneath. And of course, any flat surface, any large flat surface, I would not be going with Black Templar, I would be going with Black Legion. Smaller surfaces, one coat would be fine. Larger surfaces, you're going to want to have 2 coats, but Black Legion all the way between the 2 of them. So they each have their uses for me. Now, if you're only going to get one of them, I think the way to do it would be to just get Black Legion, because with a bit more contrast medium, or even better, some perhaps Vallejo Flow Improver, mildly though, Flow Improver is quite strong, you could probably turn Black Legion into Black Templar such that you might not need to have both, but I have both and I'm content to use both because the less mixing I have to do, the happier I am. Like for stonework, I would go with Black Templar as well. A nice dark stone. That's perfect. So I think they each have their uses. And I'm just repeating myself now. So I'm going to end that video now. I hope you have a fantastic day and I will catch you in the next one. Bye! Just you wait, I'll make finger painting an adult practice amongst the miniature painting community.